Artificial intelligence is already here, and it's changing the world in a pace that we could never imagine in the past. Thousands of people like recruiters, designers, writers, QA engineers, or even developers are getting laid off on a daily basis. And you thought it was because of a recession, because of the inflation, or because of the war in Ukraine. But no, it was because of an AI that is replacing human on it every single day. And I truly believe that in 2025, humanity will be on the verge of extinction. Just kidding. My name is Sergey Kramchenko. I'm a founder of Codemify QA Bootcamp that has helped hundreds of people without no prior experience to become a software quality assurance engineers, automation engineers, or SDATs. But regardless, today I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT to boost up your skills, to get a raise, to get a promotion, to become a senior or even a lead or a manager or even a director. ChatGPT or an AI is pretty much a booster of our brain. We don't have to get a chip. We can simply navigate to ChatGPT and use that. You know what? Let me show you how you can boost up your skills with the ChatGPT. Let's get into it. At the beginning, we're going to have to register an account at the chatopenai.com. So please navigate here, create a new account, and then you will see the window in a way I can see it right here. So on the left side, you will see new chat, ability to add a new chat or a list of chats that you previously had. As you can see, it's an empty one because you have registered a new account. On the right side, you will see a list of models. So these are pretty much a versions of the ChatGPT. Currently, the free version is called 3.5 or default GPT 3.5. As you can see, it has a good reasoning, it has a really good speed and fair consciousness. There is also a legacy option available, but there is also a paid version, which is ChatGPT 4. As you can see, reasoning is excellent, speed is fair, and consciousness is really good at the version 4. Currently, you'll have to pay $20 per month for the version 4, but we're going to use the default GPT-3, which is freely available for everyone in the world. All right, at the bottom, we can send messages to ChatGPT. So let's ask it, what can it help us with as the QA engineer who wants to grow very fast? What can you help me with as I'm a mid-level QA engineer who wants to learn very fast and become a senior engineer? All right, let's see all the advices. Number one, expand your technical knowledge as the QA. Let's see, you need to have a solid understanding of the programming languages, and which we are going to learn today, by the way. Learn programming, automation, testing, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. Great. Familiarize yourself with the practices. Cool. We have a list of advices from the AI, but what I'm going to do, I already know what do we need to work, so I'm going to slowly take it from the easy questions such as bug reports, test plans, test matrices, into more technical such as API, SQL, shell, and then some of the programming including HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the test automation. So let's get started and ask the first question. How would you write a bug report for the case when user can't log in with more than 10 characters in email? Okay, let's see an example from an AI. So title, unable to log in with email longer than 10 characters. Steps to reproduce, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. You can clearly see steps to reproduce, actual result, expected result, additional information, severity, environment, and attachments. If you guys have attachments, you should always add them. That's great. I believe that's a really good bug report. Okay, let's take it to the next level. Some of our students did ask in the past, how do you create a bug report for an API issue? Okay, let's ask an AI. Can you create a bug report for API when I send, let's say, create post new user request, but getting 403 instead of 201. Okay, and by the way, please make sure, guys, whenever you use ChatGPT, that you are very descriptive. Otherwise, you will get a very general information as a response, and if you will simply copy paste it, you will have issues at the job. So make sure that you have a basics before you simply start asking ChatGPT and copy pasting answers. So let's read it and see if it gave us a good answer. Title: post request to create a new user returned 403 instead of 201. That makes sense. Very simple. Send steps reproduce. Send a post request to the user endpoint. That is correct. That's what we gave it as an example. With the valid user data in the request body, that is correct. It gives us an example. We should provide actual data that we did. Check the HTTP response status code. Great, because we expect result. We expect 201, that user was created, but we get 403. Could not be created due to insufficient permissions. Awesome. Additional information if you have severity, environment, and attachments. Perfect. I like it a lot. I think it did a really good job. Okay, let's take it to the next level. Can you write a test case for the UI bug we've previously found? Let's see if it, number one, if it remembers all of the questions we've asked, and second of all, if it can write a test case. Certainly, here's an example of the UI bug was previously found. Okay, test steps. Open application, click on, yeah, we should provide partial URL, or actually the website where it needs to go. Click on the email field, enter then email, perfect. Click on the password field, attempt to enter valid password, observe behavior. Okay, so we've entered email, we've clicked password, we attempt to enter a valid email, observe the behavior of the email input. Okay, so what happens is there is an issue in this test case. I do not recommend you guys to copy paste it, and I hope you understand why, because we did not click on a login button. So the NAI assumed that we are seeing a field validation issue. So step number 7 should have been click on a login, because maybe we have to click on the login and then we will get an error message. But it's saying that just enter email right here and attempt to enter valid password and then observe a behavior. Okay, let's ask it a question. What if the issue appears only when we click login button? Let's see what will it say. Okay, it actually rewrites an email. The test case would need to be modified to reflect the behavior. Click the login button and then observe the behavior. Perfect. Now, so you guys can see that you cannot clearly copy paste things. You can use it as a template, you can use it as the booster, but please do not copy paste results and expect that they would be excellent, because you will get fired. All right, let's keep going. I like it a lot. So task matrix. Can you create a task matrix for facebook.com, just for example? So we would see an example of a task matrix. All right, certainly. Okay, that's great. I like it a lot. That looks really professional. No questions asked. We could expand it if we think there is not enough. We could make it shorter if we think that it's too much for us. But you guys can definitely take it as the base and keep going with this matrix. All right, awesome. How about a task plan? How about a task plan for Facebook.com? Let's be a little bit more detailed. Make sure to make sure to count our resources. Let's rewrite it. How about a test plan? Let's create a test plan for Facebook.com that has 3 manual QAs, 2 QA automation engineers. We have 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks before new changes go to production. Okay, what else do we have? I think that should be enough. Let's see what it will say. Sure, let's get an example. Project name, release testing, duration 2 weeks, test objectives, testing approach. Awesome. You guys can see all of the things that it's using for the test plan. Testing tasks, testing deliverabilities or deliverables, testing tools, testing risks, Jira, Selenium, testing timeline. Awesome. It even specifies what and when should be tested. I like it a lot, but once again, don't use it as the plan that you would copy paste and bring it to your team. Read it thoroughly. See what needs to be updated, because once again, we're just using Facebook.com as a dummy project. All right, I like it a lot so far. We do have to work with this AI. This AI is pretty much like a smart student that sometimes gets drunk, but let's keep going with it because we're almost getting into technical details, which I like a lot. All right, the next one, API testing with a curl. Awesome. So sometimes you guys would have to be testing APIs and you have no user interface, so you would use curl. So let's just ask, how do you use curl for API testing? Curl is a command line tool that allows you to make HTTP requests. Okay, we all know that, right? Awesome. It gives us some information. Let's stop the generation. And then let's say, cool, but can you show me an example how to send an API request with curl? Okay, let's see an example. Great, we can see how to send a request. But what type of request is it? This is an example sending the GET request to the endpoint. Here's a breakdown of different parts. Curl, then curl is the curl command that we utilize. Then a GET specifies the method, and then a URL, which is actually an endpoint. Perfect. Now it even gave us a post request. So now you guys know how to post it. So curl -x, post -h, which means headers. Then we specify our headers, and then -d, which stands for body. And then we specify body right here, or a payload, and then actual URL or an endpoint. Perfect. In the same way, you guys can, okay, you could see, you could assume you can use patch in the same way, but let's actually ask it. How about patch request with curl? If you do need to send a patch, let's see how it will specify it. Okay, exactly the same thing. We just replaced post with a patch. Great. Okay, how about we add a little bit more complexity? By complexity, I mean actually, how do we add a bidder token? How do we add a bidder token to this API? As you guys know, most of the time when you are testing APIs, you will have to specify your authorization. And here's a way you can specify a bidder token. You would put it as one of the headers, say authorization as the key, and then a bidder space, and then you put your token as the value. Great, easy peasy. All right, let's move forward. So we've learned how to do a bit of API testing through the curl, and then now let's get into technicals and especially shell. So let's learn how to generate a file. Actually, let me see. We should generate a file with 100 lines. Can you generate a shell script that will create a file with 100 lines of text? And this is a real case scenario. Sometimes you will need to upload a file with 100 lines of text. You could simply ask ChatGPT to do so, it will create you, but also if you need to do it on a daily basis, you could simply use this file, this shell file, to create it on your own, because it's much quicker. And let me quickly show you how to do that. It actually specifies you, it actually explains things right here. So I'm going to copy this. You could click on a copy right here, or you could just mouse, you could highlight it, then do Command C. Now I'm going to create a new file here in a VS Code. Let's call it test.sh. Let's paste it here, and now let's run this code. So sh test.sh, output file, blah blah blah, created with 100. Okay, awesome. The file is right here, and you can see there we have 100 lines of text in this file. This one is empty, so it doesn't count, and we can even remove it. Perfect. Easy peasy, right? We got it, we saved it. But once again, guys, when you use it, make sure you understand what happens here. If you guys want to learn shell, if you want to learn scripting, please do so. Okay, the next step is, how about this? Imagine a situation where you would need to generate 100 files because you need to test an application that would be to which you would be uploading 100 files. So let's quickly test it. Can you generate a shell script to create 100 txt files? All right, easy peasy. Perfect, and here we go. Once again, it gives us complete instructions of what exactly how this code is written, which is a really good way to learn it. And then also it tells us how we could run it on our computer. Okay, I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to remove this one, paste it here. And then I'm not going to run this code right here because I'm going to have 100 of files right there. I don't want to do that. I'm going to create a new folder. Let's call it a test. Then cd test. Then I'm going to throw this file into it. I'm going to remove an old one. Okay, so we have a test folder with a test sh. Now let's run it. So sh space test sh. Cool. 100 files created with the prefix output. Output 1, 2, 3, and 100. Okay, awesome. Now we can move sh out of it. Let's just move it all the way to the top so it wouldn't get stuck at the bottom, so we wouldn't remove it. I'll move it back to sh. Okay, and now to CI, and now we can remove that test folder with 100 files because we don't need it anymore. Great, now you know how to easily create 100 files with the help of shell. All right, let's move forward with our AI testing. So the next question would be finding links in a file. Imagine a situation. We have a file, actually let's generate it. Can you write 100 lines of text with multiple hyperlinks? So imagine this situation. You have 100, well, I'm not talking about the, hold on. Not a script. Not a script. I just need text with multiple links in it. Okay, sure, perfect. We have 100 lines of code with the multiple links in them. And imagine this: we need to find all of the links with the Stack Overflow website. So now we're going to wait until it's done, or actually we can use 20. 20 will be enough. We're going to copy this code. We're going to paste it in here, create a new file, and let's call it links.txt. We're going to paste it here. Perfect. We have a file with 20 lines of code. Now in a test shell, we need a script that would loop through and find all of the Stack Overflow links. Imagine this is a situation in your automation code, and you need to quickly find all the Stack Overflow links and put them in one place. Okay, now can you generate a shell script that will find all of the links, all of the Stack Overflow links in the text above? Certainly. I like the confidence of this AI. Okay, perfect. We're going to specify a file name, and we're going to use the grep command to find all of the Stack Overflow links. Okay, so use grep to find all the Stack Overflow links in the file. Let's do that. Let's copy it. Let's paste it into our test.sh. Now let's run it and let's see what's going to happen. Okay, we're inside of the test folder that was removed. We had to, let me quickly navigate, cd, ls, let me get back to this folder, desktop, projects, cy. Okay, we're back in cy. Okay, now let's run it. So sh, test sh, output. Okay, that is correct. You see, guys, that we did create file called links, but AI gave us a code, and it assumed that our file will be called output. So we have to change it. If the person from the street would try to run this code on a computer, you would simply not know what's happening. It's an easy fix, but just make sure that you have a basics before you do so. Awesome. Seems like we have only one link. Let's double check it. Stack Overflow, let's look for it. Let's copy it from here, and let's look for it right there. That is correct, we have only one. So our code did work. So we did run it, and it did find the link in a txt file, and it gave us an output, so we would know what exactly it is. It's useful in the cases where we would have, let's say, I'm going to copy paste it a lot of times. Look at it. We have 1,000 lines of code. I'm going to run my script again, and it found all of them. You guys can see that, right? Imagine if these links are different, and you need to find all of the links, and you have 1,000 lines of text, and you need to find, let's say, 20 links. Easy peasy with the help of shell. All right, let's clean it up. Let's remove all of those, all of the code, and move forward. So the next question, let's see if the shell can replace, oh, that's actually a very common issue. So when we are working with, let's say, Insomnia, when we copy API response from Insomnia, I'm going to copy it, and then you paste it somewhere into editor or something, and double quotes are replaced with a single quotes, or the other way around. And you paste it into your code, and you're like, oh shit, let's say these are single quotes, just for example, and you need to change them. So you would have to manually go through and change those. But how about we write the code that would replace it? Let's create a separate file. So we're going to create a file called api.json. Then we're going to paste it in here. And now we will ask ChatGPT to create a script that will go through every single line of code and replace double quote with single quotes. Okay, can you write a shell script to replace all double quotes with a single? Let's see if we can do it. Sure you can. All right. Use set to replace all occurrences of the double quotes with a single quote. Okay, let's give it a shot. We did copy our code. Let's paste it into test.sh. Let's change the file name from input.txt into API.json. Okay, we did copy it. Let's clear the terminal. Let's make sure we do have a double quotes here. Okay, let's run the file. API.json command, expect followed by text. What does that mean? Let's see. This is, okay, so we're getting an error. So let's talk to ChatGPT and see why are we getting this error. It did not work. I got this error. I apologize for the confusion. Okay. Looks like there was an issue with the command I provided earlier. Here's the correct command to replace double quotes. Okay. Okay, so now it gives us this code right here. Let's give it a shot. Let's replace it all. Or let's change it from the API JSON to output JSON. It just wants to create a new one. Okay, let's do so. Okay, now we should be getting output JSON. Perfect. And you can see single quotes in every single on every single line instead of the double quotes. Great, moving forward. That was an easy task. Although it took a little bit of time, and we actually had to train our AI because it made a mistake. Great, now let's talk about SQL. So since a lot of QA engineers use SQL, let's say that you do not know SQL, but you need to find a user with a certain email in it that exists in two tables. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT, can you find, let's see, SQL. Can you find a user with email sergi@gmail.com in users table? Assuming that you have a table named users with a column email, here's a script. Okay, that's a very easy script, right? Perfect. Copy, paste, run it, it will work, I promise. Okay. Can you create join SQL script to join an information of this user from two tables, users, and then we're also going to have user address. Okay, and then if you guys know, whenever you use join, you need to know how to combine two tables, but I'm not going to specify that information. I'm just going to tell it to do so. I'm pretty sure it will tell us that it assumes that it has to combine them by some data. Assuming you have a users table with columns, there we go, ID, and the users address table with the user ID, that's correct. So we're going to combine users table with the user address table by user ID and ID. Those will be the same in both tables. And this script will actually work. Perfect. Great. I like it a lot. All right, so we did join two tables. Let's see, can it join three tables? Would you be able to join three tables to also add all of the purchases? Imagine that we're working for Amazon. To add all of the purchases of user with email sergi@gmail.com that were made within last 2 weeks. Okay, let's see that. Sure, assuming users, then user addresses, and then purchases with the columns user ID, that is correct. So we're joining user address, a purchase, where email, and purchase date. Okay, that makes sense. So we specify interval. within the last 2 weeks, and it did join, let's see, all 3 tables. Perfect. Great results. All right, so we've learned how to use SQL. Now let's move forward and see how can actually create us a website, just so we could learn how does it work. Can you create a basic resume, let's say QA resume website? I don't have the capability to create a website or a web application. However, I can provide some general guidance of how to create those. Okay, I'm going to stop it. That's not going to work. That's cool, but can you create, can you write HTML code for it? Certainly, that's what I was looking for. You see, guys, you don't always get the clear answer from ChatGPT, but if you know, if you can train it, if you can show what mistakes did it make, if you can guide it, then it will give you a responses you're looking for. It just takes a bit of time and expertise. Okay, it's creating quite a bit. Okay, it's even specified that I'm a dedicated QA engineer with 5 years of experience in the software testing. Amazing. Okay, cool, that's done. Let's see if it works. I'm going to, well, let's ask it. How do I run this file? I know how to run it, but let's see if it will give us a clear instruction. Okay, run an HTML file. You can simply open a browser. Okay, so it says it should be an HTML file. Well, that's somewhat clear. So let's go ahead and remove all of the files, create a new one, call it index.html, and paste the code inside of it. Okay, now let's run open space dot, so we could open our Finder, and let's drop it into the Google Chrome. Perfect. You can see, guys, that our website looks like this. It's good, but it's just a text, right? Text with a couple of links that just takes us up and down. It's a pure HTML. Okay, awesome. Let's say that's cool. But can you also add CSS to make it a bit more beautiful? Beautiful. Certainly. Okay, awesome. We see some CSS. Great. And imagine this, you're a person that never used the code before. So you see the CSS and you're like, okay, that's cool. How do I add it? Okay, to use the CSS code, you can save it into the file. Whoa, let's follow this instruction. I like it a lot. Let's get here. Let's create a new file. What was the name of it? Style.css. Style.css. Then we're gonna paste this code into it. Okay, and then what do we do next? And then we put this one into HTML. Then you can link it to your HTML by adding a following line with the within head tags. So make sure you add it within the head tags. So let's get to HTML, find our head. Okay, and we can paste it. Oh, actually it's right there. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, now let's see our browser again. Refresh it. Ooh, that's beautiful, right? Awesome. And now you guys know, number one, how to link HTML and the CSS, and number two, how it will work. So can you also add a bit JavaScript to it? Okay, that's great. We're adding some JavaScript here to add some attributes. This JavaScript will not help us much. It will just activate some of the hyperlinks, add an ID and a section. It'll find a section and add an ID there. Okay, still, but it's a JavaScript. We're pretty much creating a fully functioning website with the help of HTML. All right, now let's create a new file. Call it call it index.js, and let's paste our code into it. So we did index.js. Let's just do one JS. We don't need two of them. Okay, I'm pretty sure it told us how to import it. Okay, and we put it into body tag. Then you can link, let's see, in the same directory as your HTML file. So we add it in the same directory, then you can link to your HTML by adding the following line at the end of the body tag. Okay, let's follow the instruction and add it at the end of the body tag. The body tag would be ending, let's see, where does it end? Let me just pull it. Okay, right here it starts and then it goes all the way here. Oh, I didn't see it's closing. Interesting. Let's see. Am I missing something? Did I not fully copy it? Hold on. That's not correct. Oh, it just gave us unfinished, or unless it didn't finish the writing for some reason. That's interesting. Okay, well, let's just paste it. Let's see. So if we open it here, then we're gonna have to close it. Close it right there. And I'm going to beautify it. What is that? Okay, I think this should work. So now I did copy it. Let me paste it right here before the end. That's the footer. So we did create a footer, but we're gonna have to remove it. Okay, we're gonna paste it right there. Perfect. And it looks like you guys can see that AI can make mistakes. AI can write unfinished code, and you have to account for it. You have to make sure that you understand what you're working on, because once again, if you just copy pasted, sometime later you will find out that, oh shoot, it didn't finish the code and I don't know how it works, so I cannot fix it. So make sure you know how to work with the code that it writes, or at least you learn it after it writes it for you. Okay, so we did add it. Let's go to the browser, refresh the page. Okay, and now I'm going to open up Elements tab to see if we've added those IDs. Okay, so we were adding get attribute ID section tab. What do we do here? For each, remove active, then if link href, add active. Okay, so we're just adding active. Okay, there is not much fun here. Let's do it differently. Let's ask, can you add unique attributes? So what we're doing now, we are adding, when new QA engineers joins the company and you do not have any unique attributes to write automation for, you would ask your developers to do so. So let's ask AI to add unique attributes. Can you add unique attributes? So I, as a QA automation, why am I spelling it? Automation engineer could easily find selectors for UI automation. Sure. Updated code right there. Let's see. Data QA. That's the one. You guys see it right here, right? So this is the unique attribute that was added by AI. So we could easily then say Cypress get data QA equals to header title, put it into square brackets because it's an attribute, and we could get this text easily. And as you can see, it's adding those everywhere. This is amazing. That's like a dev work that every QA dreams about. Awesome. So I'm going to copy it here. Then I'm going to navigate back to the code, replace our HTML file. And now let's navigate back here, refresh our page, and let's see if we can see those. Data header title, perfect, it's there. Data QA, main nav, awesome, it is there. So as you guys can see, we have added unique attributes for every single element on a page, which is amazing. All right, thanks AI, moving forward. So the next question, we are learning JavaScript. We've added CSS, we've added JS, we've added attributes. Now let's learn algorithms. As every QA engineer, you do have to know how to solve algorithms. So can you create 10 very basic, actually just basic, 10 basic JS algorithms for QA engineer? All right, let's see those. Palindrome checker. Awesome, that's a very, very famous one. And by famous, I mean this is a very popular one when you go for an interview. And as you guys can see, you can even get a solution right away. Factorial calculator, also a common one. Fibonacci, also very common one. Okay, greatest common divisor. I haven't gotten this one in my life. Reverse string, super easy one. I got it once about 8 years ago. Okay, so let's see this case. Title case, a sentence. Write a function that capitalizes the first letter of each word in a given sentence. Okay, this is the cool one. I would actually ask people to write it if I would want to find out if they know JavaScript on a mid-level. For the QA engineer. Count vowels. Okay, fairly simple one. Find the sum all numbers, find the largest number, remove duplicates. Yeah, very good. I would say these are very valuable algorithms for the mid-level of the QA automation engineer. And it's amazing. You guys can already see the solution for them. All right, that's great. Let's move on to the next one. So with the JS, let's say these are the mid-level. How about the junior or the very, very beginning? Can you give me 10 very easy JS algorithms as I'm just starting with JavaScript? Imagine this, you are a junior or even you're just starting. So let's see what kind of algorithms you would need to know in order to slowly improve your skills. So the first one, say hello world. That's like a very basic, I would say, but that's what we asked for. Write a program that adds numbers and prints result to the console. That's a good one. Odd or even, that's a good one. Yeah, these are very easy. These are for people who just started and learned JavaScript for a couple of days, but I like these a lot. Perfect. And find the largest number. Okay, this is getting a little more complicated because you're learning for loops, but that's the way to progress. Awesome. Let's move forward. So the next one, can you write a JavaScript that reads a file and finds a duplicated emails? That's a good one. Can you write a JS? So this is actually an algorithm that I think one of our students had in the past. Can you write a JS code that loops through all lines of the file and finds, actually, hold on. We don't need to specify it has to loop. We should figure it out on its own. Can you write a JS code that finds all duplicated emails in the txt file? Imagine this, you are a QA engineer and the data analyst or someone from the other team comes to you and asks you, hey, I have a file with a lot of emails. Some of them are duplicated. Can you find those which are duplicated because we have a production issue? And now we might be able to find out what's causing it. So yes, let's do that. Can you write a JS code that finds all duplicated emails in the txt file? Let's see. Sure, I can. All right, email. It reads it, it splits it. Okay, let's test it out. So cool. Now, can you generate 20 lines of code of text with 2 duplicated emails in it? We'll generate a text and test it out right away. So while it's doing it, I'm going to copy this code, navigate back here, remove all, let's see, we can remove all of these. Then we can create a new one, touch test.js. Okay, we have a JS file here, perfect. Now we've copied the code, now let's copy a lot of emails and find just the duplicated ones. Create file, let's call it users.txt, paste it, run our code. Uh-oh, error. What does it say? No such a file or directory. Open emails.txt. So we have a users.txt, but the AI gave us emails.txt. So we'll just simply update it and run it again. And let's see if it's going to work. Amazing results. It did work. Duplicated emails. Although we did ask for 2 duplicated emails, we've got quite more than 2. I think it was an AI issue, but just in case, let's double check it and see it manually. Command F, Command V, 21. Okay, so this is definitely duplicated. Let's see this one. This one is also duplicated. Let's see this one. This is also duplicated. Yeah. Unfortunately, AI did not listen to us because we did ask with 2 duplicated emails. Well, let's actually double check. Why did you give me more than 2 duplicated emails? I apologize for the confusion. You asked for 20 lines of text with 2 duplicated emails, but I misunderstood and provided 20 lines with the multiple duplicated emails. Okay, that's fine. We do not care about the amount. We truly believe that now it can fix its own issue. Okay, now let's go ahead and get to the next challenge. So I think we're good with the JavaScript. We've written a lot of JavaScript. Now let's learn how to automate tests, how to write UI test automation. Can you show me how to automate Facebook login page? Let's see, Facebook login functionality with Cypress. Now, Cypress is one of the most popular, it's becoming one of the most popular test automation frameworks in the world. Actually, it's already the most popular because a lot of devs are using it, switching to it right now. Okay, cool. Certainly, you guys see the JavaScript test automation that it did right for us. And it's amazing. It's a fully working one. The only trick here is that we do not have Cypress installed. So let's ask it. Can you, let's say it doesn't work. It doesn't work as I don't have Cypress installed. Let's just play dumb. Yep, you're right, my apologies. Assuming Cypress installed, here are the steps. Okay, and we have a steps to install Cypress, and those steps will definitely work. Okay, let's take a look at it. So it did write a test, and then in this test we have a title. It logs in successfully, facebook.com, get URL. So get the login button, click it. You would have to type in your email here and your password here. I hope you guys understand that. So this is the very basic code, how to log in to facebook.com. Okay, let's say we want to be a little bit more advanced. Let's say, can you please utilize page object model for this login test? Let's just see if it understands the page object model. Okay, it definitely does. Awesome. So it did create a page object model, and now it shows us how to use this page object model to write a test, and it's actually perfect. I do not have any problems with it. Yeah, it looks really good to me. Okay, awesome. So we did write Cypress front-end test for the Facebook. It's amazing, but now how about API tests? Let's see if we can write some API tests with the help of ChatGPT. Can you generate API test for Facebook get? Let's see, for Facebook get users HTTP call. Sure, let's see an example. Okay, it's using Cypress to do that. Awesome. And it even found the it even found the URL for the endpoint for this API. That's cool. Awesome. So let's take a look at it. Describe Facebook access token. You gotta paste your access token here. It returns a user profile. Okay, that's great. I like it a lot, but how about we want to use something? So this is end-to-end test, right? That's for a QA engineer. So let's try to use a different API clients, such as Axios, for example. Can you use Axios for the same API? Let's see, Axios API client for the same API. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. Axios get headers, then blah, blah. Awesome. All right. Now let's ask it if you can write the same test with the Playwright, because Playwright and the Cypress are two of the most popular UI automation frameworks in the JS. And Axios is just an API client, which can only be used for API. So we can also ask it which one would be better. Can you write the same code with Playwright? Can you test the same API with Playwright? Okay, let's take a look at that. So Playwright will look very similar to Cypress, but the main difference would be that it's using async await, and a Cypress hides it underneath of the hood. Okay, so we got a Playwright right here. We've got Axios right here, and we got a Cypress right here. Let's ask one simple question before we get to the unit testing of the API. What would be, let's see, what would be the easiest framework to use for a junior, let's see, for junior QA engineer? The easiest framework to use for an engineer to start with API testing. Axios, Cypress, or Playwright? And let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think would be the easiest one to start with? So for the junior one, I would recommend Axios or Cypress, as both easy to set up and use. Axios is simple, lightweight library for making HTTP requests in JavaScript, while Cypress is more comprehensive test automation framework that supports UI and API. I do agree that Axios would be probably the easiest one to start with based on my experience, but all of them are fairly easy. But Cypress and the Playwright are more powerful, and then I would say the Playwright is the most configurable and the most powerful. Now let's create a unit test. Let's create our first unit test, as sometimes QA engineers would be required to create those. Very rarely, but once in a while. One of our students recently got a job offer after she passed the interview by creating unit tests. So let's do so. Can you show me how to create unit tests for API in JavaScript? Certainly. Okay, awesome. We are using Axios. We are using Supertests. Perfect. So we're going to create it and send it. Import the necessary dependencies. Okay, so it seems like it's expecting that we will have application already installed. Okay, let's do that. Let's copy this code. But remember that we do not have anything installed. Create file, test.js, paste the code, run it, and it will not work because module not found. Access number 1. Let's install Access. Let's run the code again. Now it says the app cannot be found because we do not have it. Let's just tell it that we're getting this error. We are getting this error. Means that the app does not exist. Can you create that file for me? Can you create a code for that file for me, since it cannot create files, but it can create code. All right, perfect. So we are getting a server. Now we will be able to copy it, create a file called app.js, paste it. Now we're gonna need to run it. So let's run it. Node app.js. It says Express is not found. Okay, we're gonna have to install it. npm I install Express and also install body parser. Okay, if those were installed, let's try to run our server again. Server does not run. Why is that happening? Maybe we don't have to run it. This file defines Express. Okay, getting list, getting user. Okay, the body parser. No, this is just a simple example of you would likely need to modify with your specific API. Okay, can you just generate a very simple API server so I could run it? Actually, can you just generate a very simple API server and unit tests for it? A very simple API server, unit test for it, so I could run it all on my local. Sure, there we go. First, you need to create a new project. Okay, we've got a project. Then we've got a test. Okay, I agree with that. Let's run it. Let's do so. So install, make your my API, cd my API, npmy. Okay, we can do all of that very quickly. We already have everything installed, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, those, just in case, I'm gonna run those. Even if we have those created, we can create them one more time. It's not going to hurt anything. If it has already been installed, it will just skip it or install the newer version. Okay, and now we have, so this is the app, right? Okay, we did copy paste the app, but just in case, let's do it again. And now we have tests. Okay. Perfect. How do we run our tests? Okay, this code defines test. The test use the super test library to make HTTP request. Yeah, super test is a very popular one. Now, okay, npm test in terminal to run our test. Perfect. Let's run it. Okay, this does not work, and I'll explain it to you guys. I'll explain to you guys why. So when we let's see, called app directory. Okay, when we create new application, and if someone tells us to run npm test and the test should run, this means that when we run npm test, it will trigger a script which is written right here, but it doesn't exist. So test, and then here we're going to have to specify the command which should run in order to kick off the tests. So let's just tell our AI that we are getting missing script. Let's see what it's going to say. If you're getting, okay, that means that the script defined in package that is correct. That's what we've just learned about. Okay, we just have to specify just. That's easy. Actually, this way, not the way I showed you in a second ago. All right, now let's try to run again. npm test. Perfect. Now all of our unit tests have passed. Let's take a look at them. So test number 1, get hello should return to other status code and hello world. Perfect. The second test, get user ID should return to other status code and a user object. Perfect. We did get that. Third one, get user ID should return for status code if user is not found. So pretty much a negative test. Awesome. Now you guys know how the unit tests look like, how to create them, and how to run them. This application is utilizing a super test, but you can use Cypress, you can use Playwright, you can use Access, you can use anything you want. But this is just one of the examples that recently one of our students had to learn from me, and then after she passed an interview by showing how she writes unit tests, she got the job. After you saw how powerful ChatGPT is, after you've learned how to use it and how it can boost up your skills, do you guys think ChatGPT or other AIs, they're going to be helping us to be more efficient, smarter, faster, and better? Or do you think they'll actually replace us in the near future? Please let me know in a comment below, and don't forget to hit that big fat thumb up button if you guys did enjoy this video, and if you want to help me out to spread the word over the YouTube. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.